Hi everyone, how you all doing? Welcome to Bittersweet Bipolar. My name is Ash and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do something fun. Yeah, so this is my little sister everyone, if you don't know already. We've decided we're going to play hairdressers, aren't we? Welcome to Ashley's salon. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put some foil highlights in Jessica's hair. Never done it before, so hopefully it should go fine, and we're going to do a root smudge, a root tap as well. So yeah, hopefully it goes okay. If it doesn't, we can always change it back to a point. But yeah, fingers crossed it goes well. If I pull this off, it'll look amazing. I don't have much faith in myself, but yeah, fingers crossed. Like I say, if it doesn't turn out well, we can just change it. So no pressure, no pressure. Here are the products of what I'll be using today. I will link everything underneath in the video description in case anyone would like to try it themselves. Rapid Blue bleach powder, 20 vol and 40 vol cream peroxide. I did want a 30 vol but I didn't have any, so what I'll be doing is mixing the 20 vol and 40 vol together to get the 30 vol, just purely because I don't want to use a 40 vol on Jessica's hair because it will be too harsh. A mixing bowl and brush, a section weave highlighting comb. I've never used one of these before, but I did see them online. I thought I'll give them a go. With me not doing foils before, I'm a little bit nervous about getting the hair even in the even sections, so I bought one of these combs, well two of them, just to give it a go, just so the highlights are more even, distributed more evenly throughout Jessica's hair. A brush and wide tooth comb, some disposable gloves just to protect my hands from the bleach, some Fanola no orange purple shampoo. This stuff is absolutely fantastic, I can't recommend it enough. So what it does is knocks out any brassiness in the blonde. So yeah, I'll be using that. I'll be putting that on Jessica's head for about 5 minutes when I do wash out the bleach. So what I'll be using toner wise, I'll be using two different toners. One for the root smudge and one for the mids to ends. So for the root smudge I have picked up a 7.14 toner, and for the mids to ends I've picked up a 9.1 ash toner. So I'll be using two different toners on Jessica's hair. I'm a little bit unsure about the 7.14 being dark enough for a root smudge, so I may have to come back in with a darker toner to get those roots looking dark enough, but we'll see how it goes. And last but not least, some hair foils for the highlights. So to begin with, I'm going to mix up my bleach. I'm going to add a couple of scoops of the bleach powder, and then I'm going to mix in the 20 vol cream peroxide along with the 40 vol cream peroxide. Like I mentioned earlier, I do want a 30 vol, so that's why I'm mixing the two together. I do think 40 vol will be way too harsh on Jessica's hair. I think 30 would be just about right. Then I mix all that up together for about a minute so I get a nice even consistency, which should look a little bit like this. And that is our bleach ready to go. To begin with, I've brushed out Jessica's hair just so there's no tats or anything like that. And then I am going to section the hair into 4 sections, one at each side at the front and one at each side of Jessica's parting, in the middle parting at the back. Like I said earlier, I've not done the highlighting foils before, so I'm a little bit nervous on how to do placement with the foils, so that's why I'm just doing the 4 sections to begin with, just so I can sort of get an idea of how I want the foils to lie. So the hair is sectioned and we are good to go. Now it's time to put the bleach on Jessica's hair. I'm starting at the nape of the neck, working my way up. I'm taking a small section for the bottom. I'm now going to take the section weave highlighting comb to evenly distribute those highlights. So as you can see, this is how you do it. I've never done it before, so it did take us a couple of tries to sort of work it out. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty much easy going from then. Once I have picked up the highlights that I would like, I put the foil underneath very tightly just so the bleach doesn't bleed onto the rest of the hair, and then I apply plenty of bleach so it seeps through and the bleach bleaches the hair evenly. As you can see, my bleach painting technique isn't exactly the best. It's quite messy to begin with, but as long as I apply plenty of bleach on those baby highlights that I've picked out, we should be okay. It should hopefully all come out even. It did take me a couple of tries to get the foils right, that first foil. It is not as easy as it looks. Yeah, I'm all fingers and thumbs, but there we go. First foil down and onto the next, working my way up. So again, as you can see, I'm taking that wave highlighting comb, grabbing another section, pulling through those little baby highlights. I do actually leave a tiny bit of hair in between each highlight, just so it gives it a bit more definition. So yeah, and then I just repeat that step all the way from the rest of the head down to up. So now I'm almost finished. I'm at the front of Jessica's hair. What we've decided to do is to put 2 money pieces in, one on each side of Jessica's face, just to help frame her face a little bit better. For those who don't know what I mean by money pieces, it is, rather than doing the baby highlights, I'm just going to take a strand of hair, about 1 centimetre each. So now I've finished placing the foils all over Jessica's hair. What we'll do now is let the bleach sit and develop for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes of processing time, I then wash and shampoo Jessica's hair. I use the Fanola No Orange Purple shampoo, and I let it sit on Jessica's hair for about 5 minutes before thoroughly washing it out. The Fanola No Orange Purple shampoo is absolutely fantastic. It's got that extra blue pigment in with it, so it does knock out any orange or brassiness tones of the yellow highlights. So it's absolutely brilliant, can't praise it enough. I would highly recommend it. So this is what it looks like all washed out. I'm just brushing it through there to get any tats out before I put that toner on. It looks a little bit uneven on cam, but it's actually really even in person, and the placement foils are quite even as well, so we're really happy about that. As you can see there, a couple of money pieces from the front. They're a little bit thicker than the highlights. So I'm just brushing through her hair, and then I'm going to section the hair again, and then I'm going to work through with the 7.14 toner for the Root Smudge. For the toner sections, what I'm doing is I'm splitting it into 3 sections, one at the back and one at each side at the front there. As you can see, I'm taking the sections just from behind her ear, from the top of the hair to behind her ear there, and I'm just parting that into 3. At this point I decided to add a top bun section just around the crown of her hair, so just halfway down, just to make it a little bit easier from when I'm working all my way from down to up doing that Root Smudge toner. Next I add in the 7.14 toner into the mixing bowl, and then I'm going to add the 20 vol cream peroxide in, mix that about until I get an even consistency and try and get all the lumps out, and then I'm going to apply that on the Root Smudge. So I'm starting at the nape of the neck. I'm taking it section by section, working from the bottom up. I'm taking the 7.14 toner and I'm doing about 1 inch of Jessica's roots and along Jessica's hairline. So like I say, I will work section by section from the back of the head to the front. So as you can see, I'm almost at the front of the hair, nearly finished. I'm leaving out the money pieces at the front, one on each side there. I'll add the Root Smudge to those money pieces a few minutes before I take that toner off. To make those money pieces stand out, I'm not going to do an inch of the Root Smudge on those. I'm just going to do it about half an inch. The next step is to mix in the 9.1 Ash Blonde Toner and the 20 Vol Cream Peroxide. Mix all that up so I get an even consistency, and then I'm going to apply that to the mid ends of Jessica's hair. So as you can see, I section the hair again. I'm then going to work my way through from Jessica's mids to ends with that 9.1 Ash Toner, just so I can evenly distribute it and get any orange or yellow tones out of Jessica's highlights. I'm starting from the back and then working my way to the front. Once I've evenly put that 9.1 toner on Jessica's mids to ends, I then just very lightly comb through from that Root Smudge to blend into that 9.1 toner. I then let both those toners sit for around 10 to 15 minutes before washing them off. So I've washed off those toners. This is what we're working with at the minute. The Root Smudge isn't dark enough, so what I'm going to have to do tomorrow is actually go in with a darker Root Smudge, a darker toner, but the rest of the hairs actually come out absolutely beautiful. The highlights are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if the cam is picking up the exact shade, but they are absolutely just beautiful. So what we'll do is tomorrow morning we'll get that darker toner and we'll put that on for a darker Root Smudge and we'll be back. You may actually be able to see some slight bleeding of the bleach on the roots. I'm not too worried about that because when I go in with that darker toner for the Root Smudge, it should cover those up and it should blend it in nicely. So the next morning I went out and I bought a darker toner for the Root Smudge. I bought the Fanola brand 6.1 Ultra Ash Dark Blonde for the Root Smudge because I do want that root to be darker. I also bought another toner for the mid ends of the hair to make them slightly lighter. I wasn't completely happy with them when I looked at them this morning, and for that I bought the Colour Freedom Blonde's non-permanent hair toner. It's really good. I've tried it in the past, so I know it will make those ends look a lot brighter and a little bit more lively. As you can see, the Root Smudge 7.14 toner is a lot lighter than I wanted it to be. It doesn't give the definition that I was aiming for, so that's where I'll be placing the new 6.1 toner that I bought earlier today. The mids to ends are a nice blonde, however I'm not completely happy with them. I think we could go slightly lighter to make the highlights look a bit more natural. Then I'm going to go in with the Colour Freedom Blonde Hair Toner for the rest of the mids to ends highlights. Before I section Jessica's hair, I'm going to spritz it a little bit with water just so it's a little bit damp. My idea of thinking was that hopefully this way the toner will spread a bit more evenly and it'll be easier to blend the new root with the blonde toner. Again, I'm about to section the hair just exactly the same as I did before. Now that Jessica's hair is all sectioned and ready to go, I'm now going to mix up the 6.1 toner with 20 Vol Cream Developer. This will go over the Root Smudge, making it darker. It should also help cover any mistakes on the root where the bleach had bled through, so that should hopefully all blend in nicely. So I've mixed up the 6.1 toner for the Root Smudge just to go over those roots, and just like before I'm starting at the nape of the neck and I'm going section by section from down at the top and to the front of the head. Now that I've done the back section, I'll now work on the side sections, working from the back of the section to the front of the head. Don't forget those two money pieces at the front of the face. You only need to Root Smudge those about 1 centimetre to the root. Once I've covered all the roots, I then very lightly brush the roots to the mid-ends with a wide tooth comb. This is to help the root toner transition and blend nicely into the rest of the hair. Now I'm taking that blonde hair toner and I'm spreading it evenly from the mids to the ends of the hair. Now that the blonde hair toner is spread evenly on the mids to the ends, I'm just going to very gently run my fingers through Jessica's hair from the roots to the bottom, just so I know that everything is spread evenly and that it will blend in well. I'm then going to leave that for 15 minutes to sit and process, and then I'll go wash it off. So we've washed off both toners and used a deep conditioner. This is what Jessica's hair looks like at the moment. We've left it to air dry a little bit first, so it is actually 75% dry. I try not to use as much heat as possible on the hair as it dries out and damages it, especially with us using bleach. However, you can tell Jessica's hair is really strong and really healthy. So I'm happy with the results so far. The toner for the Root Smudge is taken nicely to the hair, that 6.1 toner, and it has blended quite well. The new blonde toner I used just gave the highlights more of a natural sun-kissed look, which I'm really pleased about as well. But now I'm going to dry Jessica's hair with the hairdryer using a low heat setting, and then I'm going to style it and I'll show you the final finished results. All of the styling products and tools I use I will list in the video description below. Before I go in with the hairdryer, I'm just spritzing some Pro Styling Heat Protection Spray on the hair. This is to help protect the hair from any potential heat damage from any of the styling tools I'm about to use. I'll then brush the heat spray thoroughly throughout the hair so it distributes evenly. I'm then going to add a tiny bit of got2b volume mousse to the roots of the hair just to give it that extra volume and lift. Now it's time to dry off the hair with the hairdryer. I'm using a low heat setting. I'll section the hair as I go. I couldn't find my round brush to give that extra volume at the root, so what I'm doing is I'm just making do with a comb and a normal brush. Once I've dried off the bottom half of the hair, I'll go in and spray some got2b Beach Matte Texturising Salt Spray. This helps to give texture and definition to the hair when styling it. Then I'll go back in with the hairdryer, still on a low heat setting. I'm adding a little bit more of that texturising salt spray to the top and front of the hair. As I dry it off with the hairdryer, I'll roll up each top section into large foam rollers and let them cool down. That way it just gives that extra bit of volume and lift. I'm giving the front of the hair and the foam rollers a quick blast of heat. I then leave the rollers to cool down and set for a couple of minutes just to give the hair a bit more volume and lift. While I wait for the foam rollers to cool down and set, I'm just quickly going into parts of the hair with my hair straighteners. Jessica's hair is pretty much poker straight anyway, but I just want to smooth out any hair frizz so it looks as sleek as possible. I'm also going in at the root with the hair straightener and lifting it up and out just to help give a little bit more lift. The foam rollers are now cool, so now I'm just taking those rollers out and going over the ends of the hair with the hair straighteners. And finally, to finish off the look, I'm adding a small amount of got2b Oil-licious Tame and Shine styling oil to the mids and ends of the hair. So we are finally finished. This is the final look. The camera isn't picking up the blonde as well as it should be. However, you can see where those blonde highlights are with the Root Smudge at the top blending in. I'm pretty pleased with it as a DIY home job. Like I say, I've not done foils or Root Smudge before, so I am happy with it. It's quite even and natural looking, and it's very subtle, which is a good thing just because Jessica has school and whatnot. Jessica is really pleased with it, and that's the main thing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it.